Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I never know what time of the world you're in. I just know that it's later than I expected, but that's okay. It's going on 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Washington, D.C., and I am here to speak to Shafaat Hashmi. He can correct me in a moment. But for right now, I want to remind you that this show is sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace around the world, one conversation at a time. Shafaat seems like an extremely fascinating person. I'm looking forward to getting to know him a little today, and hopefully we will continue this friendship. And Shafaat, can you please introduce yourself?
So you've actually pronounced my name correctly. So
I
hats
did.
off. Yeah, you did, and I think that's hats off to you. So I'm Shafaat Rasul Hashmi, and we're based out of my businesses are based out of Dubai, but I'm currently residing, born and brought up in Lahore, Pakistan, at a bit of a beautiful family. A family of a very closely knit family. And all this life, we've learned about love, mutual respect, honesty, integrity, building a great character. And a lot of inspiration is driven from the knowledge which we have learned by far. I currently work as the CEO for Brandbeat Advertising and Communications, which has 7 offices. We are also operating in Lahore, Pakistan, served over 750 brands, SMEs, and clients globally over the last 12 years. Uh, Furthermore, I'm also the chairman for Stallion Gates Asset Management, which is based out of Abu Dhabi. And we do all kinds of private equity placements, fundraising for startups, venture capital, or regular businesses, and in managing investment portfolio in a number of asset classes. At the same time, I also have a small firm, which is more of a baby right now, with the brand Tech Ross, and we are trying to enter the digital and the technology space. Inshallah, very soon, we'll have some of our products which will be out there in the market. So that's briefly what I do, what we are, and just a quick introduction.
Now, where were you born in Abu Dhabi or were you born someplace else?
Well, I was born in a hospital in Lahore. So, yep, I'm born in Lahore, Pakistan, and yeah.
And okay, when did you move? What made you go from Abu Dhabi, from Lahore to where you are now? Your English is beautiful, so I know you've been speaking it for a while.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that in Pakistan, because we have been ruled by the British, and still somehow psychologically we're still under the rule of the West. And moreover, West has grown so dominant and so successful. Majority of our communications is in English, and we all speak English. It's a global language. A lot of schools in Pakistan, they teach you very good English at a primary level, and as we grow into universities and colleges, almost everybody speaks English. So that's with the English bit. What made me go from Lahore to Dubai was essentially that I wanted to have international exposure. There was nothing wrong with Pakistan. There was nothing wrong with Lahore. There was nothing offensive. It's not that I was making less money and I wanted to make more money. I went abroad for a learning experience, and somehow I got clinged to it. And the opportunities and how the life unfolds sort of seizes you in your feet, and you become more clinged and more attached to that place, and you start earning, and uh, life sort of gets you there. So frankly speaking, to me, every single country in the world is an amazing country. Wherever there are humans, they're lovely people. I love them all, you know.
But that's what the Institute of Peace is about, and Rehan Alawala is connecting the world together and loving all the different flower. I kind of look at the world now as a big garden, and every person is a flower, and we know that every flower, there aren't two flowers that are exactly alike. And because of that, we need to learn to accept each other and not decide, well, that person is like that, so I can't be friends with them. We need to begin to realize that we need to all be friends and get to know each other, and peace will come. What do you think of what I just said? Said more than I normally do on an interview.
I think it's a brilliant analogy. In most of the scriptures that we have read in humanity from the very beginning, there's always a concept of paradise. And we all are somewhere deep down in our subconscious looking for a paradise, looking for gardens, looking for flowers, looking for a society which is peaceful. And somehow it has been related to us and told to us that any place, the best of the best reward, people who believe do believe that the best of the rewards would be a paradise. So if we are unable to make this world a paradise, I wonder what kind of concepts we have and how are we eligible to live in a paradise. So people who have their own lives, which are inspired and who try to work on their families, in their homes, in their culture, in their communities, and try to be the peacemaker, try to create a garden out of it. These are the people who actually get the citizenship, one way or the other, because they understand the rules, they know how to behave in that community. And a place where there are no lies, there is no deceit, there is no fraud, and where there is mutual respect, respect of opinions, respect of each other's feelings, and even helping each other professionally to grow together as one. That's a paradise. So beautiful analogy. I totally agree with you.
So, how can we create this world now? There's so much division going on right now, and it's important to bring everyone together.
We have to, when we are trying to, as part of the negotiation skills which I learned, uh, before we start the negotiations, we try to, and if we want to do a deal from a business angle, we always see what are the commonalities, what are our mutual objectives, what are the common interests. So the only way to bring people together, because when people started talking about differentiation, that I am different and you're different. When we try to focus a lot on our differences, differences of opinion, differences of culture, the world becomes fragmented. And differentiation and the chase or the passion to create differentiation actually creates competition. And when people are competing in wealth, in being looking better, looking good in fashion, even in the number of children, back in those days, and in positions of power, and when people are competing in becoming famous, so all these things, they ultimately somewhere deep down boils down to jealousy. In such competition, what arises in our hearts is jealousy. And that jealousy factors can drive you mad, can drive you to do all sorts of negative things. So if I go back and drill a bit deeper, I think, Carla, what's really important is that now is the time when it's not about differentiation, it's not about the same product with a different packaging. It is just about the product, it's just about our commonalities. And if we are able to highlight our commonalities, you know that is the only way, a common objective, to survive peacefully as humans, as one species. That is the only way we can bring the world together. And you're doing a great job, by the way, in fostering peace.
Thank you. I appreciate hearing that. I always do. But, and I shouldn't say but, because there's so much change happening in the world. And before this, we were talking about love and talking about the growth of humanity. Right now, most of the world is locked down. I don't want to talk about that virus word because they can hear that 24 hours a day without any difficulty. But I want to talk about it in the sense that we're all kind of locked down, and it's a time, to me, it's a time of self-reflection. How do you see this time in the world? And do you see it as going in a positive direction?
In every goodness, there is evil, and in every evil, there is a pinch of goodness.
Yes.
And in every challenge, so goes, because when human is our nature, when we are pressured, um, we we struggle, and with our struggle we tend to use more of our intelligence, more of our resources, try to come out of it. And there is nothing more challenging when it comes to humanity and its survival. So when we talk about survival, survival is the biggest challenge, and the current pandemic relates to humanity's and its survival. Now, so therefore, there is definitely something good, which is that we will learn new ways. We will learn and try to create and innovate things which will help us in redefining how we live, how we operate our businesses, how we operate the education sector, how do we deal socially. So a lot of our behaviors will definitely change. You are absolutely right when you mentioned about self-reflection. uh, my last, a few decades of my life, which I've lived by far, is I always wanted that somehow I can take a break. There was education and you need a break. And we would always love our vacations. And now we've just got those vacations. And every time we would think that if we have vacations, if we have time, we will do one, two, three. But again, it's the nature of humans that we're thankless. you know we're thankless. We always look to those who are above us, but we never look at those who are below us in stature, in status, and in different parameters. Now, when we talk about humanity as equal, then why is there a class difference? So what makes us equal is that if we look at humanity as a whole, it is actually balanced, because some are up and some are low.
Yeah.
Some are, and when you look at it as a whole, it becomes a perfect balance. So if those who are low become up and exchange positions, which has happened in the past, it's just a cycle of life, a cycle of generations. And for us, it's really the time when it doesn't matter you're a CEO or a chairman, or you are just a new hire as a coordinator or an executive in a company. We're all sitting at homes. It's not about fancy offices anymore, to which we have invested a lot. It's not about those fancy $1 million cars which we used to zoom around. It's no more about that. So we've all come down to where we are, the basics. And this is the right time for us to understand who we are, what is the purpose of our life, why are we born, what is this world? What is this universe? What is my role? Why am I given certain skills which the other person doesn't have? Why have I been blessed with certain resources which others don't have? And why do I aspire for certain resources and certain, why do I have certain aspirations which I have? Why don't I have other aspirations? So asking yourself, questioning yourself, exploring the knowledge is something which will help us get together, get stronger, and really survive. as one body, one soul.
So, how can we promote this? Considering if you look around the world, well, not as much now. There isn't, people aren't going out, so mass shootings have stopped, but there's still a lot of corruption in the governments. Do you think that this, I hate to talk about the virus, but we're not really talking about it, which has locked us down, will eventually bring the governments together too? So it isn't the United States, England, France, Pakistan, the United Arab Emirates, and it's one big government and one big family. Because look, I wouldn't be talking to you if it wasn't for the internet now. Facebook would
True.
made this happen. We wouldn't know each other.
So I think, you know, we are divided into different countries based on some fundamentals. So let's go a little deeper into history. Why we had countries all this time for thousands of years, why we had cities and kingdoms and then democracy, where it all started. So basically, if we go deep, it was about tribes. People had tribes, people were living in communities, and each community had a certain skill which they were better at, and somehow they developed their own culture, their own values, their own mores, their own belief system, and those things essentially differentiated them. So for example, there were people who were doing excellent work when it comes to carpets, and there was a tribe which would do excellent carpentry. There was a tribe which was excellent in hunting. And this is how the trade started and barter system started. And as the population grew, there was a set of rules which kept coming, and people had all kinds of rules. All this time, humanity has been trying to believe that there is somebody, there's a being, there's an entity which is superior and supreme, and there is some kind of divine knowledge of laws, regulations, which comes down to us, and we have to follow them to be better. So the driving force, the bottom line was that somehow we can be better, we can be bigger, and we can live peacefully, and we can be protected. Today in the modern world, as we see, we have a lot of countries, and each country is more about, it's just become a little bit more selfish. So you look at Europe, and Europe was divided in so many countries, and then they reunited under the banner of Euro. Why? Because each country didn't really have a lot of differentiation. Europe is Europe. Everybody looks the same. Everybody has same cultures, almost similar belief system, similar values, similar goodness. So they became one. And same goes if you look at even into the Islamic history. And there was a time when there was a Khilafat system, and all these Muslim countries were united together towards one purpose, one reason, one belief system. Today, as selfishness increased, countries are competing, and they're competing for authority. They're competing in technology. They're competing for wealth. They're competing for fame. They're competing for tourism. They're competing for ammunition. There's an arms war. They're competing in science. They're competing in knowledge. So with all this competition, what happens is that when they're competing, they're not complementing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when knowledge is open, when it is for everyone, that is when we complement each other. But today, even in this lockdown, countries do not seem to complement each other. They are still competing that I am doing more testing than you are. I've got better results than you have. I have a better vaccine than you have. And, this is where it all sort of withers away.
So, how can we turn this around so it doesn't wither? Because that's the problem in the world today. We're all competing, but if we go back to the garden, you know, we really are not. We're all individuals and we're not a government. We're not in power. No one really is in power. We just think they are. How do we get people aware of this?
Carla, to be honest, number one, I don't really think I'm in a position to influence anyone. I'm not part of a political system. I've never supported any political party in my life. And I'm not even a media celebrity. We all have a circle, a social circle, and within the social circle, we have a circle of influence, people who admire us, people who love us, people who listen to us. And we have some kind of minimal authority ranging from certain ranges on certain people. And they listen to us out of respect, out of love, or maybe out of the logic that we're trying to say or what we're trying to communicate. So I'm not really sure that how I can be or of any influence to the governments out there. But the minimal that me and you can possibly do is is share a message, which is uh, that this is the time when we as communities, we as families, we as brothers and sisters and friends, as colleagues in the office, as a teacher student relationship, for example, a mentor and a startup relationship, for example. This is the time when we can just support each other in every single way possible, believing with a true heart that we have a bigger purpose and we're not going to take all this wealth with us if we die tomorrow. We have to leave things behind. And is it just the wealth that we have hoarded all this time, what we wish to leave behind? Or do we really wish to leave a legacy behind of a great exemplary character who has played his role? I think our success is, and my personal, I'll be super successful if I can just have one person change to become a peaceful citizen of a borderless world. That's all I can do probably. And if I can achieve that, I think I'm successful. I'm not really sure about the governments and the masses.
I agree. I mean, I think I was thinking much broader. But do you think that with what you just said, if everyone would take that type of attitude, we could change the world big time?
I think it's, peace, Carla, peace starts from within.
True.
If my own heart is not at peace, if I'm not content with what I have, what I've been blessed with, and how I have spent my life, if I'm not content with it, if I've not justified all these things that I have been given, the intrinsic stuff which I have been born with, if I cannot justify that, and if I'm not content, I cannot speak about peace, and I cannot transfer that energy and those learnings to others. If I'm at peace, you're at peace, I have 10 of my friends who feel the same, automatically it becomes a community of peace. And that community later on grows. People are seeking peace, people are seeking love, people are seeking respect. This is what we want. A janitor looks for respect. At the same time, he looks for money. At the same time, he looks that somebody will smile at him. And these people, they make the majority of the population. There are people below poverty lines. They look at you and they see, oh, that's a huge car this guy is driving, and I can just afford a meal twice a day. I just have one meal in the morning, and that's about it. This guy is wearing a branded shirt worth $1,000, but I don't earn $1,000 the entire month. So where are we really heading to? What are we doing? the race towards brands. Again, as we start the conversation, it's all about competing. The day we stop competing, the day we start giving, the day we start caring with a simplistic lifestyle, what this pandemic is teaching us is to get down to basics, is to realize that every moment is uncertain, and it has always been. It's just that its magnitude has increased this time around. But every day is an uncertain day. We don't know what's going to happen. So if we learn this, we should be ready to embrace that if we die now or tomorrow, are we satisfied or not? And when you start thinking this, you make sure that every single day you spend in your life is the best day of your life.
I agree wholeheartedly. How do
Mhm.
you create every day the best day of your life?
So I have an interesting routine, and a very interesting routine, because we deal with a
Sure.
lot of, we deal with a lot of different regions and time zones, and now we are even more online. So I have a very tight routine, but in my schedule, so I usually wake up around 4:30 a.m. And I offer my prayers, my morning prayers. I read some good things, some of the readings that we as Muslims do, and then I usually take a little walk, and then I go to sleep. Then I wake up again around 9:30, 10 a.m. I take my shower. I hit my office. I work. Um, you know, and somewhere when I'm tired between 1 o'clock, just during my lunch break, I again go, I pray. I love to have great food, great breakfast, great lunch. I love good food. And then
But you're not eating now, are you?
yeah, these days we're fasting. So, but whenever we break our fast, I love to have some good, healthy food. And then I offer my third prayer, which is Asr. And in the afternoon, I take a nap for an hour, 45 minutes, just to get ready for the evening. And then we again start working, try to wrap up my day. I work a little late, after my evening prayers, have my dinner. So usually my socializing time is dinner. And then even after dinner is the time when I start writing, reading, self reflection, watching a movie, watching something, learning something new, connecting with my kids, family here and there. So that's what I really do. Maybe play some music. So every day is a different day. But just before I sleep, I self reflect. I see what I've achieved for today. What are the small tasks which I've left? What is to be done for tomorrow? And the last but not the least, just before I hit the bed, I actually put my head on the ground and I fully and completely surrender myself with humility and with thanksgiving and for forgiveness, uh, and to learn and to connect to the one I think I belong to and to the one I will ultimately go to. So that's part of my belief system. But that's something which gives me a lot of peace, because this is a time when I throw a lot of the responsibilities on his table. And I tell him that, these are the uncontrollable factors. I can't deal with them. Now, you being the supreme, it's your job to deal with them. I can't really do it. So that is what really gives me peace. I believe strongly that different energies work for you in the universe. And if you align your positivity and your energy, uh, it's like everything comes together in a form of a channel, and it helps you achieve what you wish to achieve. So it's really like what you eat is what you become. And similarly, what you throw out is like a boomerang which will come back. So if I If I give out bad vibes, bad energy through my bad intentions, I shouldn't expect goodness. But if I'm good, the worst may happen, but I should expect the best results.
Okay. Do you meditate? I don't, you have to understand, I don't totally understand the Islam 5 days a week. 5 day, 5 meditations a day,
My
four
prayers
or five
day, yeah.
prayers. Could you explain that to me a little?
Sure. So, it's just like we somehow forget during our day and our schedule. So sometimes there are people uh, who forget everything, and once in a year they go to the church or they go to the mosque, and usually they go not when they're happy, but when they're going through a challenging time.
Right,
Okay, this is how it is. Now, if somebody realizes this point, that every moment is uncertain, and every moment, because of its uncertainty, becomes a challenge, so perhaps that person will go back to the church every moment, you know, or go back to the mosque every moment, or go back to the to a temple every moment, and try to reconnect. So what we really need to understand here is that, if for me, I think connecting with your God 5 times a day is so beautiful, because morning happens and I need my energy. I need that presence. I need that power. I need that guidance. Afternoon, mid noon, I want to take a break from my work, because when I pray, when we meditate, when we sit, we learn and we reflect. Oh, what have I done, and what am I supposed to do? What are the things I have to achieve? What are the decisions I have to make? What not that I've missed? And that break is very important. And these days, we waste a lot of time in having lunch. We don't really get a break, because if you're having lunch with friends and colleagues in an office, you didn't really get time to think. Your mind is with the people, and you're eating.
yeah,
So that break is important. And when we take that 15 minutes break, that really re-energizes us to go do the work, be good. And I think it also reminds us of our responsibility as humans. And I think connection is very important. It's just like having a connection between you and your loved one. And if you don't message each other, checking out, how are you doing, is everything okay, uh, without that kind of communication, I think love somehow is not that strong. I think bonding is stronger when there is more clear and more frequency of communication, and we get to understand each other better. So communication is very important, and prayers is essentially more like a communication. It just gets you to stay connected, reminds you of that you are just a speck of dust in this huge universe, which we really are, scientifically speaking. And we are created, we eat from this earth, be it cattle, be it meat, be it chicken, be it vegetables, be it fruits. Everything essentially comes from earth, from mud. And essentially, if we look deep down, we're made out of it because we eat it. That's what makes us survive, makes us live. So, and ultimately, we somehow, some people bury each other, the others, they burn the dead bodies. There are different things people do when people die. So ultimately, we just go back to the same environment from which, so the same earth which has fed you ultimately eats you, you know, and that's the cycle of life. So we just need to understand that we are part of this big system, this great system, this great universe. And we, as intelligent beings who have been created in so much perfection, we definitely have a responsibility. Nothing is created in this universe without a purpose. And that's what I believe. If somebody who comes to me seeking a job, he might not be a perfect fit for that position or for my company, but I'm sure he or she is a perfect fit for just another company or another job out there. But that doesn't mean that if he doesn't fit my firm or my position, he's an unfit person or he's a useless person. There's nothing useless. Everything is useful and everything has a purpose. from the plants to giving us oxygen, from the sun, from the stars, me and you. Everything has a purpose.
Now, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but some people, when they feel they're rejected, they automatically begin to feel, oh my gosh, I am not worth anything. It's not true. How do you keep yourself from feeling that way on a bad day or on a day where you're rejected for some strange, crazy reason?
I have this interesting thing which my parents taught me. Uh, I used to be a shy kid, when I was young, and I used to get bullied as well in school at times.
Yeah.
And I would get back to my parents and say, "Oh, this happened, that happened," and they would say, "Well, if somebody beats you up, you got to beat him back. That's what you got to do. You got to be strong. You got to work. You got to eat. When kids are young in grade 3, 4, 6, 7, parents are usually asking them to eat, eat, eat. Become strong, drink milk, eat more. So were my parents, and they wanted me to be physically strong. But what they told me is that when you're rejected, dejected, number one, understand what you did wrong. Find out the reasons why you were rejected. And when we try to find out the reasons, some people they try to blame themselves a lot and they fall into depression, you know, and that's a very common disease these days. So, what we do when we feel that these are the reasons, then it is the time for us to rectify those reasons. We must not repeat our mistakes. And if we learn that, and we should remember, if you fail once, the sky won't fall. As far as you're breathing, you have another chance. Always remember that. As far as you have health, you have another chance. As far as your limbs are working, brain is working, you can see, eat. People who are blind, who are special children, very, very special, they achieve so much. How? Because they believe that as far as we are able to survive, we can be successful. So, survival is the key. Believing in positivity, believing in hope. And not only believe works, but one has to work. You have to improve yourself. You can't just say that I'm sitting at home and things will work out in my favor. We have to change our attitudes. We have to bring a change in ourselves. If somebody's failing over and over and over again, he should sit back and reflect, why am I failing? What am I doing wrong? And that's very important. And that's where you need mentors. That's where you need guides. That's where you need friends. That's where you need your parents. That's where you need a loved one. And this is what our society is missing today. We don't have those people who hold somebody's hands.
Do you believe that everyone has that ability to grow?
I believe every mind definitely has the ability to grow if, if, and only if, Carla, if we put our ego aside and open our minds and our hearts and our five senses to learn and to absorb. We do not change, we do not grow because we stop learning, we stop reflecting. People believe that you do a lot of hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, and you'll have a result. No. People who do smart work, there's a step before that hard work, which is thinking. If you think and then work, it's smart work. And thinking comes from self reflection.
And people, this is a time where people can begin self-reflecting because they're at home. They're not running around to go for dinner or to go to a job or to go anywhere. They can stay at home and just Relax.
Carla, as we discussed, I mentioned that humans are generally thankless. And because I think I'm boring you. It's a boring
No, no,
conversation, is it?
no.
Uh,
No, you're
yeah,
not at all. I love what you're saying. I'm gaining from what you're
yeah,
saying. Believe me.
yeah.
Don't take the
Thanks. So,
anything other than I've been working very late at night too, as well as during the day.
yeah, I wish I could send you some coffee. If it wasn't quarantine days, we would be having a caffeine kick right now to stay awake.
I don't drink coffee.
Yeah, you don't? Okay.
I've
So,
given
what
up
I was
all
saying,
caffeine. Actually, I'm doing a fast of my own, and I think that probably has an effect on.
absolutely, it does.
Please
It
don't
does.
think I'm bored by you. I am not at
Great, great to
all.
hear. So, Carla, what I'm saying, generally, people, we are thankless, and because of that, we tend to complain a lot. Humans are just not happy. We are asking, we need a vacation, we need a weekend, we need a day off. Now that we have it, we say, oh, why can't we go out? Why can't we step out? I mean, for God's sake, be thankful that you have a home, you have shelter, you have food, you have water, you can take a shower, you can do so many things. You're living with your family, or even if you're living by yourself, you have so much to do. But no, we will keep complaining. Even if we give someone in this world all the riches of this world and a lot of power, mark my words, this guy will still complain.
True.
You know, he'll
And it's
still want more.
and it's complaining that keeps people from growing and developing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What we need to be is thankful. Be happy, be good. There's so many good things happening to us, but we take them for granted because we believe that we deserve goodness. But the truth is that we actually do not deserve anything. Everything is a favor upon us. I mean, let's look at myself, look at yourself, and the audience out there, Carla. Let's look at each other. What have we done so great, so tremendous that we deserve to be given all kinds of amazing fruits, a sun shining, giving us life, a moon, the tides, the stars, a painting on the sky which keeps changing every moment. Tell me one single roof or a painting which never repeats its design. You know, the music that we hear of the chirping birds in the morning. Tell me one music which is always a different music every morning. Do we deserve all of this? Do we deserve that we could be so smart and fast with all the technology and amazing things that we wear? I mean, just go 500 years, only 5 centuries. That's what, 10 generations. Just go 10 generations behind us, and they did not have these brands. They didn't have those amazing shoes, the comfort, different running shoes, different fabrics, different fashion, different motive, different haircuts, different makeups. I mean, curtains, couches, you name it. We have been blessed with so many things. And honestly, what have me and you done? Nothing. All we did is we came into this world. And we were just blessed with deserts, with forests, with the beach. Did you create a beach? Did I create a beach? No. So is this not a favor on us? It's a favor. You and I didn't do anything that we are blessed with a beach. We didn't earn having a beach. We didn't earn that we should be given 4 different seasons. We didn't earn that we should be given rain so our crops become great. We didn't earn that. We didn't do anything at all to create the clouds and all of this. We have been favored. We are the favored people. God has given us such a beautiful universe and has put emotions in us. We feel the love, we feel the pain, we feel goodness, we become happy. What is happiness? An emotion. What is sadness? An emotion. People who are emotionless, somebody who's insane, doesn't feel anything. We have been blessed with those neurons, billions of neurons working in our brain as we speak and as we sit. Do we deserve that? Do we deserve this beautiful body, 5 fingers, genetics, health, so many things? I mean, look at our eye, our eyes. Look at what the mechanism of eye, the little vessels that go, how the lens work, how it interprets the information. Carla, I didn't do anything that I can tell someone, please, God, I have done this job, give me one eye so I can see. God, I have done this, so give me a pair of lips. God, I have done this. I work for 1 billion years, give me 2 ears so I can start hearing. He gave it to us by default. We didn't do anything. It's a favor. When someone learns that it is a favor, this is when we become thankful.
Today on my Mindful program, I don't know if you know of it, but we talk about consciousness and growing of consciousness. I'd like you to come to the show, in fact.
Would love to. I'm honored.
I'm going to invite you to the group. It's at 12 noon my time. I don't know what time it's where you are right now, but I think it's probably around 7 o'clock. No, it's around 10 o'clock there.
Okay.
But we were talking about gratitude and how, wanted to talk about getting rid of all the anger and the fear that's going around. And the point that came up that everyone agreed upon was gratitude, being grateful for our lives. And that's exactly what you're talking about right now. We need to learn that whatever we have is what we have at the moment, and we need to enjoy it.
Absolutely. I always say this, Carla, that having a great education is not directly proportional to your income. Doing a lot of hard work is not even directly proportional to your income. Having a great intellect is also not directly proportional to income. How? You and I, let's assume we graduated from the same university, we studied the same, we hold the same degree. One doctor, he earns more, the other doctor earns less. You and I, we both work 9 to 5 daily, same job. One person earns more, the other person earns less. There is somebody who is extremely intelligent, but he's a researcher and he sits somewhere and nobody listens to him. He doesn't have that monetization on his YouTube channels. He doesn't receive royalties from his publications. He's more intelligent, but he doesn't earn. And then there is someone who never studied anything. He's a farmer. He's a go-getter kind of a guy. He's a farm boy, and he's a billionaire. He's a landlord, you know. So these things, they are not directly proportional to our income. This means, and it has always been like this means income and all the blessings that we receive is not because of who we are, of what we are, what we have learned. They're only a tool. They only play a role to a certain extent. But after that, what really matters is people with a good heart, people who give, the universe gives it back. I have never seen a person who has been kind and he has not been blessed. Never in my life.
I
Never.
haven't either.
You know. And that's the only proof. So what we really need to work is not that we only work hard on education, on skills development, on competition, on competing in positions and earning more. We need to work equally hard on our heart
Absolutely.
and enlighten it with the light.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
This is a good place to end, but I'd love to talk to you again.
I would be honored. It's such a privilege, and I would love to add as much and share as much as I can in my little humble capacity. I think I need to learn a lot from you. You have seen world more than I have, and I think the learning is mutual.
I think we have a lot to learn from each other.
Inshallah, God willing, definitely will.
And I am going to invite you to the Mindful group, and hopefully you can join us someday, Monday through Thursday.
It would be an honor. Would love to do that, and I hope our audience enjoys what we have just shared, some of our insights. And I hope if they have any questions, I'll personally request them to connect with Carla. She's amazing. She has interviewed so many people. She has information coming in from so many sources, and obviously a brilliant guide, a brilliant woman working for global peace with my very dear friend Rehan Alawala. He's a great person, good guy, and I hope we can share goodness and share good messages with each other, live peacefully.
And I hope we can talk again. This has been really very, very wonderful, Shafaat.
Thank you so
I
much. I'm honored.
feel very blessed to have had this conversation. It went way over half an hour, but I think you're okay with that.
I'm perfectly fine.
Shafaat, I need to tell the people that this show was sponsored by the Institute of Peace. And it was a real joy talking to you tonight. And I hope we can do more. And with that, let's wave goodbye. My
Yeah.
famous wave. Good night, people.
Good night. Thank you. Thank you, Carla.